Thank you for joining us today. I'm Russ Altman. I'm a professor of bioengineering at Stanford and an associate director of the Stanford Human-Centered AI Institute. I'll be your moderator along with my colleague, Rob Reich, professor of political science and also an associate director at what we call HAI, H-A-I. This is our second online COVID conference. You may know that the first one was on April 1st, very shortly after the shelter-in-place orders were issued. We focused then on the urgent needs to understand this new pandemic. More than 32,000 people joined us on April 1st, and in 4 sessions, we discussed an overview of understanding the disease, its spread, different approaches to mitigation, and which countries were handling things particularly well, and which ones were having some issues. We discussed the infodemic of misinformation and disinformation happening alongside the pandemic, the rise of xenophobia, and the biosecurity concerns associated with the pandemic. We also heard from scientists who are tracking the spread of the disease and creating new tools to estimate unreported infections and their impact. And then, of course, we learned how AI is being used to identify possible treatments and vaccine candidates. These sessions were all posted on the HAI YouTube channel, where you'll find recordings of today's conference as well in a couple of days. So what are we talking about today? Today, we're looking beyond the immediate crisis of flattening the curve and organizing to confront the pandemic. It's clear that the world will be living with COVID-19 and its impacts for the foreseeable future. And we need to think about the different pathways out of the crisis, as well as the accompanying economic and social challenges that we will undoubtedly face. So now I want to pass it to my co-host, Rob, who would like to welcome you as well.
Good morning, everybody, and greetings to anyone joining us from anywhere in the world. I want to pass the microphone in a moment to our co-director of the Institute for Human-Centered AI, John Etchemendy. But first, I think we feel obliged to offer a few words about the current state of life in the United States on this day, Monday, June 1st. This feels like one of the most difficult periods in history that we've ever faced as a nation. And it's as if the United States is experiencing a combination of the 1918 pandemic and the tumultuous and violent 1968 election year, all at once. This is a time of incredible pain and anger for all Americans, regardless of our politics. And it's a particularly difficult time for Black Americans. We feel divided as a human race and as citizens right now. We still have so far to go to achieve racial equality. Now, we believe there are important connections to be made between the pandemic and the protests that we see across the country against our history of racism. For example, will these mass protests trigger an uptick in infections? We also note the disproportionate effect of COVID-19 on racial minorities, especially African Americans, and the disproportionate police violence against African Americans. Also, what will it mean to run a safe and healthy election in the United States if there are pandemic-related shelter-in-place policies, as well as widespread protests still ongoing over the course of the summer and into November? What effect might these protests have on mobilization, turnout, campaigning, and so on? We hope today to raise some of these issues with the distinguished guests who will join us as part of our conference. Now, with that, let me introduce you to HAI's co-director, John Etchemendy.
Thank you, Russ and Rob, for all your work putting together today's conference. And thank you, Rob, for acknowledging the tragic events of the past several weeks, events that have affected us all so deeply. I'm here to represent both myself and Professor Fei-Fei Li, my esteemed co-director of Stanford HAI. HAI's mission is to advance AI research, education, policy, and practice to improve the human condition. We take this mission seriously. We believe that AI provides an extremely powerful tool for good if used properly, but equally for ill if not. Our goal is to promote the former and to minimize the latter. At the present moment, we find ourselves buffeted by extraordinary forces on multiple fronts: social, economic, political, and biological. We firmly believe that problems of this scale can only be addressed by bringing to bear expertise from across the disciplinary spectrum, using the most powerful tools available. For this reason, we feel it is incumbent on HAI to assemble the appropriate expertise to advance our understanding of issues that confront us in the present health crisis, and to provide thoughtful, research-based discussion about the best, most promising approaches for emerging from that crisis. Today's speakers are academics and industry experts examining the economy, the healthcare industry, and society. We hope that you'll find their contributions valuable, informative, thought-provoking, and insightful. So thank you once again for joining us today. And Russ, back to you.
Thank you very much, John. And before we begin, just a few logistics. As you can see, this is an entirely virtual meeting, so please bear with us if there are technical glitches during the time together. We apologize for the funny behavior of Zoom backgrounds that may take out parts of my head and others, and any sound issues. You will hear time checks for the speakers going out over the audio. Also, we may have to cut speakers who go long, and we apologize to them in advance. If our signal goes down, please go to hai.stanford.edu for alternative ways to view the conference. Our conference is divided into 3 sessions with 3 speakers each. Each speaker will present for about 8 minutes, and at the end of the session, we'll have a panel discussion. Importantly, we want you to be involved in this discussion. Please go to the COVID-19 conference page on our website and click on the Ask Questions link. We have a team of people reading the questions and feeding them to our moderators, and we'll try to get to as many of these questions as we can. We'll aim to take brief breaks between the sessions, and we will try our best to stay on schedule. I want to say that although this is about AI, artificial intelligence, and COVID, we have been very broad and expansive in putting together the agenda. We want to make sure that this is important and relevant, and we have not looked for strict boundaries between AI and the other adjacent disciplines. With that, let's begin our first session. Rob, can you take it away?